Assalamu alaikum, my gorgeous soul. Welcome back to this episode of the Rosalind Batul Show. And I want to get straight into it. In fact, I've been thinking about this topic for a while, but because I'm so into this topic, it's taken me a while just to get around to recording it. So if you're listening to this, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much for bearing with me because I know you've been waiting for me to release this episode. So this episode is all about resting is a weapon. Oh, especially for the patriarchy. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I love all things womanhood, all things feminine energy. And one of the biggest things that are not spoken about when it comes to feminine energy is resting. I feel like resting has become so demonized because we live in a patriarchy that benefits on us women being burnt out. Now, I want to take you all the way back to gender roles. A lot of us have been taught that we need to compete with a man in order for us to be successful. And this is the biggest lie that you've been told as a woman. I want you to understand, being a woman is a full-time job. Being a woman is a full-time job. Let me break it down for you. The reason why it's a full-time job is because number one, you get periods. If you don't have your periods, you go through hormonal changes. Like every woman, we have seasons. We have 4 seasons in a month. Winter, spring, summer, and autumn. When our hormones are fluctuating, it is very hard for us to keep the tempo. Think about the temperature of your room. Right now, it may be 26 degrees, I don't know, however you like it. Men can stay at that temperature for 24 hours a day, as long as they get 6 hours of sleep. Us women cannot stay at that temperature, even if we get 10 hours of sleep, even if we get 6 hours of sleep, because we have hormones. Our hormones fluctuate in order to keep our bodies alive, because we have a womb. Our wombs are always creating. Whether you have your womb physically in your body or not, we are still creating as a woman. We are doing something with our bodies. The biggest thing we're doing with our bodies is purging energies, soaking in negative energies in our energetic field, in our environment, and purging it every month. Being a woman is a full-time job. This is why I mean it's a full-time job. And if you get pregnant, girl, that's like a whole career. That is a whole career. That's like a PhD and a master's rolled in one. Not only are you there creating a baby, creating organs, creating legs and limbs and eyes and a brain and a heart that's going to beat on the outside when you push the baby out. But when the baby is born, you have to breastfeed that baby. You have to keep that baby alive. That's literally like getting a PhD, a master's, whatever you want to call it, all in one. And even if you don't get pregnant, your periods, girl. Your periods is this time where you need to rest. It's your winter season. It's a season that you need to hibernate. Now, when you look at jobs, they are not catered to our periods. They are catered to a man's cycle. 9 to 5 is a man's cycle. A man can work easily 9 to 5. And this is a warped idea that we've been sold, that because I can't work a 9 to 5, that must mean there's something wrong with me. No, that doesn't mean that. It means that the man is meant to provide because that's his job, and you are meant to rest and receive because that's your job. And this is where we have confused gender and said it's a construct, when gender is more than that. It's biological, it's psychological, it's sociological, it's philosophical, it's everything in between. So when you are being told that resting is lazy and unproductive, really I want you to understand is that you have downloaded beliefs that are not your own. You have installed programs in your brain, in your subconscious mind, that are not yours. And I really want you to unpack them. I really want you to sit there and ask yourself, what is wrong with resting? Because you're not a robot. You are designed to rest. God created you to rest. God even says, He created the night and day. Nighttime for you to rest, the daytime for you to go and work and earn your living. Now, for us women, the great thing about being a woman is that we don't have to exchange time for money. We are the money. You are money. You are the physical representation of money. Do you know why? Because a man in his natural form is a provider. And when a man gets with a woman, he naturally wants to provide. You become his bank account. He stores money in you in the form of energetics, in the form of providing, in the form of protection. He sees you as his bank account. He sees you as something so valuable. Because men see money as valuable, it helps them create a life that they want. You are the bank account. You are the physical representation of money. You are money. And from my own experience, and I'm an ex-hustler. I've been working since the age of 16. I was paying my mother's rent at the age of 16. I'm a middle child. I have older siblings. I have younger siblings. My elder siblings did what they wanted. They were never, burdened with my mother's illness or with her financial problems, and neither were my younger ones. It was always me, which is why I left home early, because I know there's like a thing going around about the elder daughter syndrome, which is true, but no one talks about the middle child. The middle child is often forgotten, and that's what I went through. And I learned from a very young age that I have no one to rely on, and that money is my only friend. Money is the friend that I need in my life that's going to provide me with security, safety, freedom, abundance, everything that I want and need. I've never been without since I was young. I've always figured out a way to make money. And in fact, I always tell this story that I quit a job just to go and sunbathe. Because for me, I had this belief in my mind that I'm rich, I'm wealthy, regardless of what my bank account says. I used to own 68, 69 pairs of shoes, because I just wanted shoes. I love like having a nice pair of shoes with my outfit. I never had that mindset of like, I need to work hard for money. In fact, my mom tried to ingrain in me to work hard for money. And I used to always say to her, why though? Why would I need to work hard for money when money is everywhere? When I was younger, I used to see money in everything. I used to always like say to my mom that, just look how much it costs to build a house. Look how much it costs to create a car. That's money. Everything is money when you actually think about it. But because we have been so warped as young girls to believe that the career, the independent life, chasing is the only way for you to make money, that's where the problem lies. I believe that women should have a career. I believe that women should be independent. I believe you should have your own money. Of course, you should have your own money, your own bank account in your name, assets in your name, land in your name, a house in your name, savings in your name, stocks in your name. Everything should be in your name. You should have that, whether you're married or not, whether you're in a job or not. You should have some form of income coming in your life. I believe that. But what I don't believe is that a woman should burn out on her way to success. And one of the stories that stand out for me when it comes to resting is Arianna Huffington, the woman who owns Huffington Post. Now, she used to work 100 hours or maybe 120 hours a week running her business. Her business was a 9-figure business, and she collapsed at work one day. Now, imagine, she has built a business to 9 figures. She's given her all. She has burnt herself to the ground to the point that her body no longer works. This is proof that as a woman, we have a cutoff period. We have a clock that shuts down when we overuse our bodies and don't rest enough. When we don't give ourselves time to rest, because rest is productive, rest is a weapon to success, rest is also a useful tool that we can use to receive more money. Now, Arianna Huffington collapsed at work, and guess what she did? She created a meditation app with, I think, 50 cents. I think she did open it up with 50 cents. She created a meditation app to help hustlers become more productive by working less. How interesting is that? Every woman I've worked with has always come to this halt, to this stagnation in life, where their career becomes stagnant, money becomes stagnant, everything becomes stagnant, their body becomes stagnant, their health becomes stagnant, their mindset starts dwindling, their body is burnt out, their adrenals are fatigued, their hormones are all over the place, they're losing hair, they're losing sleep, they can't sleep. Why? Because they were sold the wrong idea. They were sold a false belief that if you work hard, you will feel happy. That is a man's role. Let's define gender roles here. A man's sole purpose after worshiping God is to provide. Whether or not he gets married, he must provide safety, protection to the society around him. A man is meant to be initiated into manhood in order for him to protect society from abusive men. Now, that's the role of a man. The role of a woman is to receive that protection and that provision by doing nothing other than being a woman. That's it. That's the balance. If you've been asking yourself, what is the balance here? Gender equality. That's what makes you equal. There's no equality if a woman is going to lose her body, her mind, her soul by working hard and a man doesn't. That's not equal. There's no equality if you are going to end up with cancer, stress, wrinkles, your body deteriorating if you work the same hours as a man, but he increases in his fitness, increases in his mental health, increases in his overall production. There's no equality in that. The equality lies when both parties get the same provision or the same kind of deal when they do their job. So when a man does his job, he feels revitalized. When a woman relaxes and she receives, she feels revitalized. The whole point of equality is the result. A lot of us are not realizing that the equality is not in the production level or the energy that we put out. The equality lies in the result that we want. The result a woman wants is to have money, financial independence, abundance, and basically safety. And she thinks, or you probably think in your mind, that I can only get that way by being independent because when I was younger, my mom went through a hard marriage and she got divorced and she became a single mother and yada, yada, yada. You have all these stories that are helping, giving you confirmation bias that's saying to you that, yeah, that's true. It's true that I can't rely on a man. It's true that I have to work harder than a man. It's true that I have to be independent, a career woman, and work so hard to the point that I burn out. That's the reason why you have these programs in your mind that are telling you that you can't have it equally as a man. You have to work harder than a man. When you actually think about it, when you break it down in your mind, you're not doing things equally like a man. You are actually doing more than a man. When you have to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is not your normal body clock, your body clock starts at 10 as a woman. So imagine you have to be at work by 8 a.m. and you live an hour away from work. So you have to leave your house maybe at 6:45 to avoid traffic, but you also have to get ready, right? You can't just roll out of bed without brushing your teeth, having a shower, getting your outfit ready, making sure you eat breakfast, making sure you pray too. You can't just roll out of bed. You have to prepare. So that might take an hour or two. So really, your job starts at 5 a.m. It doesn't start at 8 a.m. So let's say you went to bed at 10 p.m. Then that means you only had 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 hours of sleep. A man can survive on that. A man can actually thrive on 7 hours of sleep. A woman can't. And it doesn't mean that you're weak. It actually means you're powerful. What I want you to look at it this way. You requiring more rest means that there's something about you that is so powerful that requires you to recuperate your energy. I want you to really clock that. There's something going on in your body, in your energetic field, that requires you to rest more. You are doing something without actually doing it, without actually being consciously aware of what you're doing. And I talk about this a lot as a woman. You are a sponge. You are always soaking in energy, negative and positive. You are always alchemizing. You are always transmuting. Just think about it for a second. Even if you don't have periods, you every month bleed as a woman. That bleeding isn't just blood coming from your womb. It's a combination of thoughts, beliefs, energies that you have soaked up for 4 weeks that is now manifesting into blood that is now being purged out of your body. And for centuries, men have known this. Men have known that when they get with a woman, when they get married, they increase in their production, increase in their provisions, increase in wealth, increase in status, because they know that when a woman is on her periods, she is actually purging his negative emotions, his negative beliefs, his traumas, alchemizing him into the man that he's meant to be. Men have known this for centuries. Men have also known that when they do make a woman orgasm, it helps them become a better man. It helps them become more richer. Men have known that for a long time. If you Google the Roman Empire and orgy parties, I'm not for sex before marriage. I don't believe in that. But this is what used to happen back in the day. Men used to have orgasm parties with women because they know that when a woman has the big O, she can manifest what he wants. Because as women, I want you to really see this. You're a spiritual being. You're more spiritual than you are physical. Men are more physical than they are spiritual. This is the balance. This is why men need a purpose, they need something to provide for in order for them to access their spiritual self. I want you to understand, men providing is their bridge to accessing their spiritual self. When they provide, the spiritual self that they access is you. You're spiritual. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And I always say this, right? That when Adam, in the story in Islam, Eve was created from Adam's rib. But this was after his soul was breathed into his body. Before, Adam was just a hollow vessel. There's a massive metaphor here that a lot of us are missing. A man is hollow. He is hollow without his soul. When his soul was breathed into his body, that's when God said he needs a mate. And he took his rib. What does that mean? Adam is missing a rib. Every man is missing a rib. That means he's a defect. He's defected now. God made Adam defected. He has a disability in a sense. He's missing a rib. And he's the one who needs to go and find his rib by going down the line of provision, by going down the line of providing, by going down the line of becoming a man. And when he finds his provision, either through a woman, and it doesn't have to be a wife, it can be a mother, his sister, his auntie, his grandma, a random woman on the street, a stranger, protecting her, just like being aware of her surroundings too. Gentleman, just being a gentleman, opening the door for a woman, carrying a woman's bag to her car, helping women out when they see if a woman's in trouble, he'll be the first one to defend her. When a man chases his provision, he completes himself. A woman was born complete because she was born with her soul. Think about it. The rib was taken, Eve was created from Adam's rib after he was alive, after his soul was breathed into him. That's when God created Eve. So Eve was born with a soul and an extra rib. Like, she was created from a rib. She got extra. She came from luxury. I want you to imagine, she came from a luxury. She wasn't made from clay and mud and dirt. She came from luxury material, the rib of Adam, right? So now Adam is defected. Men are defected by nature. They have to go and find their rib. They can't find their rib when a woman is saying to herself, I want to be like a man. That's why the world has become so imbalanced and so scarce. Just think about all the wars that are created. Think about it. Men create wars to create scarcity so that they feel useful. Because when there's scarcity, men can come in and provide. They can provide and protect. They can create something out of nothing, out of scarcity. Men create wars. Men create all these problems for them to feel useful. This is why we're seeing this G word happening in watermelon. That's why we're seeing that happening right there, because it was what happened. Let me tell you what happened. Women decided to say that I want to be like a man. I want to be equal to a man. I want to burn out. I want to do it better than a man. A man works 100 hours. I want to work 200 hours. A man can build a tower. I want to build Eiffel Tower. A man can do this. I want to do better. Then what happened is the alpha men started dwindling from society because they have no reason to protect now. It's just a balance. I want you to understand, men have two genes, the predator gene and the protector gene. When a woman is competing with a man, his predator gene turns on because naturally as a man, he becomes defensive. He sees that woman as a man. Science has shown that when the part of the brain that lights up when when a woman is competitive with a man is the same part of the brain that lights up when a man is in a fight with a man. You're going to have to look at that study. I can't remember. I read it like 7 years ago. But the part of the brain that lights up when a woman is arguing with a man or getting really aggressive is the same part of the brain that lights up when a man is in a fight. That means his predator gene is being turned on when women are not being women, when women are choosing to be aggressive like men. So that means predator gene is now on. That means men are now also seeing women as a threat, seeing women as a problem. It's not. I want you to understand this, and we want to have some compassion for men in the most loving way possible. This is not for you to feel sorry for men and to baby them. No, that's even worse. You don't want to baby a man because it's still going to turn on his predator gene. It's not going to turn on his provision gene. You don't want to baby a man or become his rehab center. You're not here to fix a man. But I want you to have compassion. I want you to understand this very deeply, that when you choose to hustle like a man, you are creating a problem in society. And I say this with love. And I understand that, we have programs. Some of us are single mothers. What else can we do? I've been a single mother before, so I know how it is. But I never hustled. I didn't want to hustle. When we choose to be like men, we are turning on the predator genes in men, and they are now turning on us and harming us. This is why there's wars happening. This is why they don't care if they kill kids. Oh, can't say K word. Unalive kids or unalive women. They don't care. Rape is on all-time high. I don't know if you heard from the UK recently that the assault cases has gone into the 500,000 or millions in the UK alone. Because now when I understand why women are becoming aggressive, I get it, because men are being the problem. They can't control themselves. And I'm not here to what's that word? To defend men. I don't defend men. I don't need to defend men. Men have their problems and they need to fix it. But when you look back at genes, Adam was created hollow. After his soul was breathed into him, Eve was then created. Men need a purpose. They need to provide. They need to feel like they can provide. They need to feel like they can protect. And when we start becoming women, in the sense we start resting more and we refuse to buy into patriarchal ideas of like, I need to be more productive than a man. I need to hustle and burn out. I need to do it better than a man. Of course, we can do it better than a man and women combined. We can do it better than animals. As women, like I want you to understand this, you don't need like constant validation in how well you work in order for you to think that I do it better than a man. Girl, a man was born hollow. You already did it better than a man. Adam was created hollow without a soul. You already won, okay? The whole gender war is over because you were created with a soul. You were created in luxury. You were created just the way you are, beautiful as you are. You don't need to compete with a man. Men need to compete with each other in order for alpha men to be at the forefront of society, protecting society, so that beta men can go and hide and go away in the jungles and kill each other. Ugh, I can't say the K word, unalive each other. Beta men are supposed to really like fight each other and be away from society. Alpha men are supposed to be at the forefront of society, protecting society from the harms and the ills that are happening. But guess what's happened now? Because the predator gene is now turned on, men are turning into abusive control freaks and only controlling women. They're not even controlling men. Why? Because we are saying to ourselves, I can defend myself. I don't want to defend myself. I want a man to do his job, what he was created to do. I want to rest. I want to know that if I work part-time, 20, maybe 10 hours a week, I'm still going to receive money because there are men out there who are providing. There are men out there who are protecting. There are men out there who are making sure that the money is going in the right hands. The whole world is misconstrued and upside down because men have forgotten to be men and women have forgotten to be women. And this is not me trying to be like, oh, women are at fault here. No. But if you understand your power, you understand that you turn society. You are the ones who make and break society, not men. Men don't make and break society. We build the communities as women and men protect that community. That's their job. What you need to understand is like a police officer. We are the ones who put the police officers in power and we tell them what to do. We call them and say, this is a problem here. Come and protect me. An intruder is in my house. Come and protect me. That's the whole job of a man. He just follows commands from the community that is built by women because he feels like he has a sense of purpose when women have built that community and he wants to protect it now. Because he's thinking in his mind, yeah, soon enough, maybe one day I will get married to a woman like that in that community and I will pass on my genes to that woman. She will have my baby. I will pass on my legacy because I deserve it. I earned it by being a provider. I earned it by being an alpha man, by connecting to God spiritually. First, I connected to God. I elevated myself as a man. I became a divine masculine man by proving my manhood, by providing and protecting so that a woman in that community finds me attractive, and then I will pass on my genes to her through marriage, and she will have my children who will carry on being alpha men. And the reason why I know this is true, because men are like animals. I have dogs. Dogs follow hierarchy. They only follow commands. When you leave a dog by himself or herself, they will ruin things. They will harm people. Like I have to take my dogs through training like every 6 months in order to make sure that they are up to speed and they can guard and they can protect. Men are like dogs in the most humblest way possible because dogs are also loyal. When you give them food, they are loyal to you. When you look after them, they are loyal to you. So it's that balance, right? Dogs are not just dogs, like in a bad sense. Dogs are actually loyal to you and they protect and provide for you and they look after you when you treat them right, when you give them commands. Dogs love commands. If a dog is not given commands, he will ruin your life. He will pee everywhere. He will tear up everything. He will not listen to you. It'll be very hard to keep him disciplined. So men need commands to be disciplined. So when a woman is in her resting era, being the queen that she is, giving orders, because queens give orders, they don't take orders, they give. When they give orders to the right man, soon enough in that community, a woman's going to get married to that man to pass on his genes. She's going to feel like she wants to get married to that man. She's going to feel like, oh yeah, I want that man. He's earned his manhood. He's earned that title. He's earned the right to my body. He's earned the right for me to have his children because he proved it. And this is the whole point of being a man and woman. Now, what does this mean when it comes to resting? When you get out of the idea that you're meant to compete with a man, because think about, do you really want to provide and protect society? Do you really want that job? I don't want that job. I don't want to be drafted into war. I don't want to go and fight wars and keep beta men away from society. I don't want to be harming people. That's not my nature. A woman is naturally more abundant than a man. You could work up, and in fact, it's proven that over 90% of businesses online now are run by women. So we are winning that gender war, whatever it's called, already. We're already making more than a man. The average salary that a man earns, a woman can earn that salary working part-time. Or she can earn that salary running a business. In fact, running a business for a woman is way more productive and way more beneficial than her working a 9-to-5 job. It's more beneficial for a man to work a 9-to-5 job because it works with his I can't even pronounce that word, circadian rhythm, with his sleep cycle. A business works with a woman's sleep cycle. But when you as a woman understand that your career is not limited to a 9-to-5 job or climbing the corporate ladder just to do it better than a man, and you realize that you can actually determine the hours you want to work and the hours you want to rest and the hours you want to create and the hours you want to hobby, you're going to be far more better off mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually than a man, which is what you're meant to do anyway. You as a woman are meant to embody more of your spiritual self in this world. You're meant to further that potential. You're meant to get so creative on earth that you create a better community simply through your thoughts. And you can't do that when you're thinking about, I need to hustle, girl. I need to, like, that man over there, he made more money than me. I need to go and hustle with him. And in fact, I want to tell you a story. When I lost my job, and I know a lot of people think that, when you get married, because there's this whole debate going on right now, that when a woman gets married, she's at risk of divorce and having nothing. Well, girl, I wasn't married. No, I was married, but I was in a job that was really high paying. I left like the UK, went to Saudi to get a job that's tax-free, making all this money with 3 kids. 2 kids, and I was pregnant. And then guess what? I got laid off and my boss was a man. My boss was a man. In fact, my boss was a man, but the person that helped me get laid off was a woman. My manager was a woman because I only worked with women in my side because in Saudi, it's like gender separation. So I work with the female teachers and on the female side, and men work with the men. So the manager was a woman. She knew I was pregnant. She sent the go ahead for me to get sacked with no reason whatsoever. I had not given any reason other than I took a few days off work. Yeah. And I was pregnant. This was after my mum died. My mum died. A few weeks after my mum died, they decided to hit me with another bad news that I'm being fired from my job. And guess what? After that, I couldn't find a job. I had to go back to the UK with only 6K in my savings and start over. That is no different to getting a divorce, because I did get divorced after that. And he left me with nothing. And I've experienced both sides of the coin. I've experienced being divorced with no money and getting laid off my job with no money. It's both the same thing. In fact, getting laid off your job with no money is worse because I dedicated my life to that job. I gave up looking after my mom for that job. I gave up my life. Like, people think working in Saudi is like this amazing thing. No, it's not, girl. I did not learn a word of Arabic. I did not have time for hobbies. I didn't have time to go to the mall or to experience Saudi because I was working nonstop. In order for you to be able to stay in Saudi, you have to have a work visa, and a work visa comes with requirements. You're working basically every single day from like 7 until 6 p.m. I had no time for my kids. My kids were in daycare. My second child, she was in daycare from the age of 10 weeks. How is that fair? As a woman, do you understand that when you try to be like a man, you are in fact giving up your rights to your children as well? Your children deserve a mother and a father in their life that are able to provide for them the emotional security and the physical security and financial security. I wasn't able to provide that for my 2 kids that I had at the time. I had my daughter in Saudi. I got pregnant and only had 10 weeks leave. I know that's the same in America. And it was paid leave, but then I had to go back after 10 weeks. I remember handing my daughter over when she was 10 weeks, and I felt so bad. I felt like the worst mother in the world. How is that fair? How is that fair as a parent? How is that equal to a man? Because women, naturally, we have so much of a bond with our children more than men. It's just natural because we birthed them. We held them in our wombs for 9 months. We created their organs. We created their oxygen system. We created everything. We know them. We know their personality. How is that fair? Right? So when we say to ourselves, I want to do it like a man, we're actually negating and we're actually creating traumas that are going to pass on for generations. Alhamdulillah, I'm able to do hypnosis on my children, and that era of them feeling neglected by me has gone. Like, they don't feel that way because I was able to rewire their subconscious mind and help them heal those memories that made them feel neglected, because that's what they did. Their nervous system was in fight or flight. And no one wants to talk about this, about how working mothers, and it's not our fault. As women, it's not our fault. It's partly our fault because we've allowed the patriarchal society to teach us that it's okay for us to compete with a man. And really, it's a men's job for them to pick up the slack and start providing. So I've experienced both sides of the coin. So when I came back to the UK with only a few, whatever, £1,000 in my savings, and then I decided to go all in a business. When I was in Saudi, actually, I was doing a blog. I was doing health coaching. I was creating meal plans. I was helping people detox their bodies from harmful chemicals like toxins from vaccines and stuff, and helping them go on a detox plan to help them lose weight. I was very good at it. And I was making, like, let's say, maybe £100 a month. Not consistently, but it was like a passive income. I was getting £100, right? That's it. And my 6K savings, right? So I decided to go all in my business. Now, this is here where I realized that this is all a scam, right? The gender equality, patriarchal, whatever it's called, do it better than a man, is a scam. Because I started listening to Tom Bilyeu, and Tom Bilyeu was like, if you're not, working hard and staying up late nights and doing this and doing that and killing yourself, yada yada yada, then you're not worth the success. You're not worthy of it. Now, for us women, worth is such a big thing. It's like, oh my God, I need to earn my success. I need to earn this. I have to be able to say, I earned this. I sweated blood and tears and whatever. But that is a man's role. Men have to prove that they earned their success by being men, by proving that they became providers through their success. That's the whole point of a man's job. A woman's job is meant to prove that she is worthy of receiving that by how well she rests, how well she's feminine, and how well she receives. That's how she proves it, by being a woman. Because being a woman is a full-time job anyway. Back to my first point, our hormones fluctuate. We go through periods. We get pregnant. We have a womb. We have hormonal cycles. We have all this going. It's a full-time job to be a woman. We never get a rest. That's why we need 10 to 12 hours of sleep. But then going back to this point about Tom Bilyeu, I was listening to men. I was listening to men on how to build a business. And guess what? In the first 6 months of trying to build my business that I have now, I was burnt out to the ground. I was sabotaging myself. I started procrastinating. And I realized I wasn't procrastinating. I was just going against my nature as a woman. I wasn't really procrastinating. My body was telling me, Rose, this is not right. You're not meant to do it this way. We've already come from one job that literally burnt you out, because I was burnt out from my job in Saudi. And I was hopping into another place, into a career, into my business, burnt out. What's the result of being burnt out? More burnout, mental health problems, fatigue, adrenal, whatever it's called, fatigue, all this stuff. On top of being a woman, on top of like my minerals being deficient because I had 3 kids, on top of all of that, I'm trying to do it like a man. That stressed me the heck out. I was so stressed. And I know it helped me. And I'm not going to negate the fact that it helped me, but I believe that you can only do that for 6 months as a woman. You can only hustle that hard to like get the cogs of your business running. But after that, you have to delegate and you have to hire support. You have to make money to hire support, to do the things that you hate so that you can focus on being the creative in your business. Your job as a woman is to be the creative so you can rest more, get inspired more, to create more, to receive more money. That's it. You're not meant to be the creative and then be the admin and then be the VA and then be the PA and be the assistant and be the sales manager, all this stuff. You're not meant to do all of that. You're just meant to be the creative. And I feel like this role is so downplayed, but this is what men talk about. They have to work hard to get creative. We don't. We're just naturally creative. You have to understand it's flipped on the other side for us women. When we rest more, we receive downloads from God. Like right now, I was just resting before I, started recording this podcast because God said to me, you know what, Rose, you need to go and, record this podcast right now. So I was like, okay, now I'm being inspired to take action. I've been resting for the past 2-3 days, just sleeping, resting, relaxing, not doing anything. Alhamdulillah, I have an amazing husband who helps me with my children. I have a helper. I have so much support around me. So I don't need to work hard. I need to cook and clean. We're in Ramadan. I haven't cooked a meal since Ramadan has started. Alhamdulillah, I have an amazing husband who doesn't require me to cook for him. He can cook himself, and we have help for that. So I've been in my resting era. And girl, I received the download. I could hear it loud and clear. It's like my brain was going fuzzy and my body was just like, got up out of bed. And I was like, okay, let me record this podcast. Let me record this episode because I know someone needs to hear it. God is guiding me because someone right now needs to hear this. It's you. You need to hear this. So when I started my business and I was working my ass off to the ground, I used to put my kids to bed at 7. I used to work on my business from 7 until 12. Then I would take a nap and I would pray tahajjud. And then we'll go back to my business, pray Fajr. My kids will wake up. So I'm now depleted of any resources possible. I will let my kids play by themselves for a bit while I took like a 30-minute nap, which turned out into me having a mental breakdown because I couldn't cope. I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I was constantly in this, how am I going to do this? This is not working. To, oh yeah, I'm getting a breakthrough. Back to, this is not working. I'm drained. I need help. What am I going to do? And then I ended up going through an issue in my with their dad. I had to leave my home. I became homeless. I was living out my car with my 3 kids. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to have a breakdown. There is no way that I can create space for me to create in my business when I'm going through this. This is where as a women, we need to hire support. Guess what? Provider. We need providing energy. We always need providing energy. We need it. There's no way we can live. This is why they say it takes a village to raise a child. We need that support system, whether you like it or not. It does not mean you're weak. It means you're strong. It means you're strong. It means you're like, think about it. A queen has servants helping her because she's a powerful entity. A king has servants helping him because he's a powerful entity. You can't run a kingdom if you're burnt out, if you're doing all the work, if you're fighting the war, then you're paying the taxes and you're helping the poor. You can't be all roles in one. And this is what we've been sold, this lie, that if you're not being 100 roles in one, then you're not worth it. What stupidness is that? I'm sorry, but what stupidness is that? So at the 6-month stage, I realized I don't want to run my business this way. I want to get creative. I want to have fun. So I took a break from my business and I just had fun. I started traveling with my kids in the car. I found a place to live, alhamdulillah. And I just got creative and I was making sales calls in my car. I was like, I love connecting with people. I used to see those sales calls as a way to connect with people, to figure out what their problems are rather than for me to sell to them. I used to love finding out what their problem is so I can figure out what the solution is in my services that I can sell back to them. So I would just make sales calls, get to know people. And when I offered my service and it was a no, it was fine. It was just like, I don't really care. I don't need the money. I have my kids with me. I have like $4,000 in savings because I invested some money into a business coach. I think I was down to $3,000. I was like, I'm fine. I'm cool. My reality does not dictate my future, just temporary. That's what I kept saying to myself. This is temporary. I'm doing the work. I'm being creative. I'm going to ignore hustling because I don't want to go back to hustling. I've been doing that since I was 16. In fact, before that, because I was looking after my mom, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do it differently. Because what God was showing me when I got laid off from my job is that this is not the way that you need to go in order to make money. Because I believe that having a 9-to-5 job was the only way that I could build a successful life. But now I make more money than I ever did in any of my jobs. And I do it just working 4 hours a week. And I did it without hustling. So after that 6-month mark, I was just like, okay, let me get creative. Let me drive around. I love driving. I love exploring different neighborhoods. I would go to different neighborhoods with my kids. I'd be like, oh my God, guys, look at our house. I used to just pretend with them. We used to visualize together. And I would just get them to dream with me. That was me being creative. I felt that me being productive. Me being productive was me visualizing, because as a woman, when you meditate, you're not meant to empty your thoughts. You're meant to visualize. You're meant to actually visualize things. Bring creation ideas into your mind. You're not meant to empty your thoughts. A man is meant to empty his thoughts because his mind is riddled with thoughts 24/7. I know, because my son has always, his mind is always on the go, while my daughters, they are not. So that's a man problem. But as women, we need to be able to visualize with images and create feelings from it so that we can feel moved to work on that desire. We are women who like to work towards our desires, not work towards things that makes us feel productive. That's going to burn us out. So I kept visualizing. I kept going to different neighborhoods. I traveled around the whole of UK with my kids. And people say that you can't, travel when you have kids. Girl, I traveled everywhere with my kids. I even went to Egypt with my children. I was like, bun this. I'm going to live my best life. I'm going to do what I can. Even if I don't have the money, I'm still going to do it. I'm going to figure out a way. And at that time, when I went to Egypt, I was selling my meal plans for $250 then. So I was making like a little bit of money. I was thinking, okay, I can survive in Egypt. And I survived in Egypt for 8 months. Like on that. I think it was 250, 300 that I was making a month. I was like, this is more than enough for me to survive, plus the $3,000 that I had in my savings. So I invested that into renting an apartment, which was more than enough for me to rent a place in Egypt. And I was living on that. And I was like, this is fine. This is me visualizing the life I want to create. Then I had to come back to the UK because something happened. I can't remember what it was. I came back to the UK and I was like, okay, now it's time to get serious in my business. And when I got serious, and I mean what I did to get serious is I made sales calls. I made more sales calls than ever before from a place of I'm already rich because I've been to Egypt. I've done what I need to do. I travel with my kids. I'm rich. I'm making money. I just believed I was making money in my mind. I had that abundant mindset. I was like, I am money. I am the money. I don't need to work for money when I am the money. Why am I chasing myself? Why am I hustling for myself when I am money? And I kept this mindset. And I think after my 56th no on a sales call, I finally got a yes to my my 5K offer. And she paid in full. And that for me was a defining moment. Like, oh my God, all I had to do was make a few sales calls, make it fun, travel while in between, have fun with my kids, not make it so serious, not hustle to the ground. And mind you, when I was making sales calls, it's like they lasted for, it wasn't like a 9 to 5 job. Sales calls were like 2 hours a day. And I was running it from Monday to Thursday. And then the weekends I was free to do whatever I wanted. So I was dictating my own hours. I was telling myself, I'm going to do it at this time when I want it, not when someone else wants it. I had a whole booking link, whatever, and they were booking. I would just talk to them. And finally someone said yes, because I made it fun. I was having fun with it. I was visualizing myself being rich. I experienced some kind of richness by going to Egypt. I've experienced some kind of abundance by traveling with my kids to different areas in the UK. I experienced it everywhere. I chose to not allow my reality to dictate my dreams. I kept saying to myself, this is temporary. This is just a bridge. I have to cross this bridge and I'm going to arrive at my dreams. And I focus on the feeling of being rich and abundant and free. That required no hustling. And guess what? In between, I was resting. I was relaxing. I even hired babysitter. I remember hiring a babysitter so that I could go and finish my driving. This was way before I became homeless, and I passed my driving in 2 weeks. So even though I didn't have that money, I only had like 4K in my account, I still hired a babysitter. Paid her, I think it was £15 an hour I paid her. I would pay her for 2 hours and I would go to the coffee shop and sit down and just relax. I was still figuring out ways to relax. It's so interesting how my body was trying to figure out ways to rest and relax while I was homeless, while I was not making enough money, while I was a single mother. My body wanted to rest and relax and have fun because that's what my body needed to do in order to heal and in order to thrive. And now, after that 5K offer, I have always had clients because I chose resting, having fun, receiving over hustling. And I'm not here to say that I don't hustle. There are times in my business, which is around my ovulation phase, which is I call the spring phase. And when you have a spring clean, that's when you hustle. So I want you to imagine your period, your cycle. Your winter cycle is when your periods start. So you're hibernating. Then your spring cycle happens when you come out of hibernation, when you come out of your periods and you start feeling like a little bit lighter, a little bit loose. You start desiring things, dreaming of things that you want. Then, that's not spring. Spring is when you start planting seeds. So you're planting seeds about what you want, right? You're decluttering your whole wardrobe. You're getting rid of things that you don't need anymore. You're purging. Now, summer is where those seeds bloom, right? So summer is a time maybe where you hustle a little bit because you want to harvest whatever you are growing. And then again, you go back to winter. Your summertime is your ovulation. And then winter happens where you need to go and hibernate and rest again. Women have four seasons in a month. You have 4 seasons in a month. You need to know when to rest, hustle, receive, and relax. And you have those times in your period cycle. And I really want you to get attuned with your periods. I really want you to fall in love with it. One thing my mom did for me was initiated me into my womanhood and, did like a whole ritual bath with me and, taught me about periods and my past and all that stuff, and really made me understand that now I'm a woman and I have to be careful about who I invite in my space, friends and men. She's the one who taught me that, become a woman, take care of your appearance, look after yourself. Now you need to be a bit more careful about what you put in your body, what you eat, what you're taking, what you consume mentally, who you hang out with, what you believe. She taught me all of that. And we have to do the same now as women. If you were never taught that as a young girl, you need to know it now. And the biggest part of this I want you to understand is that resting is your superpower. Resting is your superpower. It is your God-given right. It's how God designed you. Rest. Girl, rest, please. What I want you to take from this, from my story, I know it may have come in like different downloads because normally my podcast, I just allow it to flow. I don't like scripting it. I want it to come naturally because this is what you are as a woman. You are natural. Naturally, you are in flow. Wherever God wants to use you for, he will use you, right? So what I want you to take from this episode is that resting is your superpower. You resting makes you better than a man. When you don't rest, you become less than a man. When you rest, you become more creative. Your creativity is your superpower. It is like your powerhouse. It is a place where desires are born and manifestations are born and your prayers are answered. When you rest, you are inviting your prayers into your life. You are telling God, I'm ready to receive. And you know what? The more I've rested, I only work 4 hours in my business. When I say 4 hours, I only coach for 4 hours a week. The rest of the time is through creativity. I'm creating podcasts. I'm writing content. It comes from my heart. I love it. I love connecting through my words, through my episodes, through my podcast. I love connecting in my stories on Instagram, in the DMs. I don't see that as work. I see that as creative play. I see that as fun. I see that as manifestation. I see that as visualization. I see that as so amazing. Because as a woman, I need to connect with people. That's my desire as a woman. But when I'm working, when I have to be serious and I have to be disciplined and I have to make sure that my thoughts are in order to create a container for my clients, that's only like 4 hours a week. But because I've given myself how many days? It's 2 days out of the week that I work. 3 days. I've given myself 4 days to rest, relax, and receive. And plus I have a support system. I don't feel guilty about hiring support. I love it because I know there's someone out there doing the job better than me. There's someone out there who can do the job better than me. And I want to give them their props. I want to hire them for their talents. I want to pay them for their talents because they deserve that. Just like I'm getting paid for my gift, I want to pay people for their gifts. And people may be thinking like, oh, having a helper is not a gift. Of course it is. Being able to cook and clean is definitely a gift that needs to be paid for. It's a gift. Same as my VA. It's a gift that she can manage my business. That's a gift, girl. I'm going to pay people well. And I pay well my employees. I pay them very well. Because I chose to believe that the more I rest, the better mother I am, the better CEO I am, the better coach I am, the better wife I am, the better human in general, the woman I am. Resting is my superpower. It makes me more productive the more I rest. It makes me more efficient the more I rest. It makes me more pleasurable to be around the more I rest. So here's some things I want you to take away from this podcast. I want you to answer these questions. Where in my life am I finding it difficult to rest? So it could be at home. You may be finding it difficult to do the chores. I want you to hire help. I want you to hire a cleaner. Hire someone to cook your meals. Figure out a way to save some money in order to hire someone. And you can do it. Listen, girl, I did it. I know you can. If I did it with like £100 coming in every month, you can do it with the money you have. You definitely can do it. I want you to choose faith over fear. I want you to choose abundance over scarcity. I want you to choose the possibility of more money over the lack of money. Because God says, fear me only. So when you're fearing money running out, you're actually making money your idol. Nothing deserves to be feared or worshipped other than God. So I want you to put the mindset on money in the sense of you are money. I want you to imagine, right, that you are the £1 million that you desire. You are it. Imagine you are £1 million. How would you meet yourself? If you were to meet £1 million, let's say £1 million is a person, that person is you. How would you meet yourself? Would you meet yourself in a unrelaxed, angry state? Or would you get dressed up and would you plan a date to meet yourself, to meet £1 million? Just imagine that for a second. You are £1 million. £1 million is a person. How would you meet that person? What would you do? How would you show up? Would you think to yourself, oh my God, no, I can't meet the £1 million today. I'm too ugly. I'm too fat. Oh no, I don't have this right. Da, 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 da. Would you talk yourself out of it? Or would you be like, oh my God, the £1 million is mine. I'm going to make an effort. Make an effort with your life. That means hire help. Delegate, girl. You are not strong taking on the world on your shoulders. That's just a program that you took from childhood. That's your childhood traumas. That's a coping mechanism. That's you saying to yourself, I don't trust no one. I don't trust no one. I don't want to trust anyone. Everyone's been bad to me. And I'm going to keep perpetuating that cycle because I want to keep believing that I'm a victim and that everyone's out to get me. No, girl, no one's out to get you. You are only out to get yourself. You are your own worst enemy. You are becoming your own worst enemy by refusing to hire and delegate tasks. You are becoming your own worst enemy and you're not being pleasurable to be around. People don't want to be around you because you have a masculine shield and you're aggressive and you're passive aggressive and you're just burnt out because you're refusing to have help, to ask for support. And if you are afraid to ask for support, this goes back to childhood programming. This is something we work on in Sacred Feminine Pleasure. And in fact, I had a girl, it's so beautiful. I had a girl in Sacred Feminine Pleasure who was so afraid to let go of control. Like, oh my gosh, it would trigger her to the point of like arguing with her husband and just like that feeling like the worst mother in the world. And after doing abundance rewiring in around her relationship with God, she finally understood that she was just perpetuating a cycle that happened in childhood. And what we do in Sacred Feminine Pleasure, I help you shift your identity into becoming the woman of your dreams. Because when you were little and you felt like no one was supporting you, not once did you say to yourself, oh, I can't wait to grow up and have a masculine shield and not trust anyone. Oh, I just can't wait. I cannot wait to grow up and hate everyone and hate my life and just, take on the burden of the world and perpetuate this cycle. Not once did you say that. In fact, what you did is you visualized yourself out of that situation. You dreamt your way out of it. You dreamt of being a woman surrounded with love, surrounded by people who love you. You dreamt of this lifestyle. I want to help you reconnect back to that dream, reconnect back to that woman. And we do that in Sacred Feminine Pleasure in 8 weeks. So if you want more help on letting go of control, letting go of perfectionism, healing your traumas, releasing shame, regulating your nervous system, and really visualizing your dream and making it a dream come true, because dreams are only dreams when they stay in your mind. We want to make your dreams come true. We want to help you answer your prayers. Your prayers are meant to be answered, not meant to just remain prayers in the air. We're doing that in Sacred Feminine Pleasure in just 8 weeks. The link is in the description box. You can read all the testimonials. The testimonials are real of all the women who have joined Sacred Feminine Pleasure, and the results that they've had is phenomenal, transformational. There's women that have been in therapy for 15 years, and in 8 weeks, they heal their traumas and are living their best lives, and you can too. Now, the second thing I want you to ask yourself is, what does resting mean to you? What does resting mean to you? What have you made it mean? Maybe your parents used to say, oh my God, like no one helps me around the house. Maybe you used to offer your mom help and she'd be like, no, it's okay. Or maybe you did try to help your mom and she was like, no, you're not. Or maybe you heard as a little girl that you're lazy. I know with my clients in Sacred Feminine Pleasure, they often heard this word, that you're lazy, and that's what made them determined to have really highly driven careers that burnt them out. So what meaning have you put around resting? That will help you figure out why you're avoiding resting, because it reminds you of something in childhood. It reminds you of a really bad memory. It reminds you of the time where you felt useless and inadequate and unimportant and like not good enough until you did something, until you tried to prove your worth. And now I want you to ask yourself, what do I want resting to mean for me? How do I want it to feel? Because remember, you can't create safety in resting if you're constantly being reminded of your past. So you want to create a feeling. You want it to feel good. What's the feeling you want to create? And what do you want it to mean? What do you want it to mean? What do you want resting to mean to you? I told myself, I want resting to mean that I've done my job as a woman. Because it's my job. My job as a woman is very hard. It requires me to get paid. Just to be a woman. Just to be a woman requires me to get paid. Because being a woman is a job. It's an actual job. It's a job description. Comes with a plethora of job of tasks and duties. It's a higher paying job than a man's job. So that's why I said to myself, I said, I wanted resting to feel like I'm doing my job as a woman. It's part of my job description to rest and receive. So I can receive the downloads from Allah. So I can receive what God is trying to tell me. And I get it so well. Now, when I made that my job description and said, it's my job description, part of me being a job, being a woman, and I made it feel so safe, secure, luxurious. I made it feel so luxurious in my body. Girl, the downloads that I received, the things that I have received from Allah, I can't even describe it to you. But yeah, I get those downloads straight away. Inspiration galore. I get inspiration galore. I get signs and hints, and my intuition just goes off because I'm so well rested. I've taken like 10 years off my body, and my skin is so amazing. Allahumma barik. My skin is beautiful, it's supple, it's wrinkle free. My hair is luscious, it's thick, it's long. I'm in my resting era. In fact, when I saw a picture of myself from 6-7 years ago when I was stressed out, I look so old. Like, you would probably think I'm like 50 years old because I was really skinny and I was just like, looked really unhealthy. You could see the stress on my face. But now when I take pictures of myself, I love it. I'm just like, oh my God, girl, I look so fine. Like, I'm looking so young. No one believes I have 5 kids. I look so young, so amazing because I made resting my purpose. My purpose in life is to rest. And you know what that did for me? It helped me attract a man who actually says to me, babe, please go rest. Which like makes me want to cry. Because every time my husband says that to me, he's like, babe, you need to go and rest. Can you just go rest, please? My husband is like that. He loves providing. He loves cooking. He loves cleaning. He loves being a dad. He loves just being around me. He loves like providing anything I want. He loves giving it to me because I made a priority in myself. I can't attract what I want unless I become what I want. Just like I said, you need to become money. That's what you're really chasing when you think about becoming a man. You're thinking about becoming money, of having money. So become the money. This is how you as a woman get what you want, by becoming the thing that you want. And money flows to you to the path of least resistance. So when you become money, you act like money. Money rests. Money just flows to you. It wants to go through the path of least resistance. It doesn't want to flow. It can't flow to you when you're stressed out and triggered. It has to flow to you when you're open and receiving and relaxing. And also in my business, like, girl, alhamdulillah, to all the clients who've joined Sacred Friend Pleasure, I cannot thank you enough for trusting me. And I feel so honored to have been your coach and to be your coach in the next cohort. But all the women who have ever been my clients, I'm just so honored and so grateful to Allah. And the only way I was able to receive those clients with ease is because I prioritize resting. I prioritize myself. I prioritize my resting periods, my receiving periods. I prioritize, I honored every single cycle that I'm in. I want you to do the same thing, girl. I really want to see resting as your superpower because it's going to change your life. Resting is your weapon to success. Thank you so much for listening to my episode, to this podcast. Please let me know in the comments what came up for you, what landed with you, what really intrigued you about this podcast, because I love listening, reading your comments and your feedback. And inshallah, I will see you in the next episode. Take care. Assalamu alaikum.